Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Patriot News Hour with your host, Joshua Capilla, the independent with conservative values, fighting the liberals, protecting the homeland from terrorists, domestic and foreign. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to stop. We're not going to stop. We're going to tell the truth. They want to suppress the information. They want to spread the lies, but we're holding everyone accountable. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Patriot News Hour. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, the Microphone Marine, your pastor, your general on the war on woke. We're manning all battle stations, fighting the enemy on their own territory, domestic and foreign. I got a lot to say about Kamala Harris today, ladies and gentlemen. Does she want to take her Second Amendment away? She would say she wouldn't, but does she want to handicap the Second Amendment, so to speak? Yes, she does. She wants a buyback program like the Australians. The only way she can get away with this is if we as Americans allow her to and adopt the liberal agenda and the liberal narrative. Yes, we got three branches of government: executive, legislative, and judicial. But we have to understand here that the Democrats are gaining power, gaining momentum. She's on the rise, challenging Donald J. Trump. And we know that for a fact, ladies and gentlemen. We need to do something about this. We got to rise up. We got to level the playing field, and we have to defend our country. When it comes to the Second Amendment, when it comes to abortion, protecting the sanctity of life, when it comes to protecting our children, we need to make sure we ensure these protections and enshrine them in the Constitution. The liberals always like playing the constitutional game, cherry picking, off the cherry tree, which they would like to say, well, there's a lot of gray area there, so we're going to interpret the Constitution. And as a president and a expert on negotiating contracts, let me tell you something. They will take any gray area they can when it comes to anti-Christianity, when it comes to anti-life, when it comes to supporting those who wish to do harm to us by investing money in foreign countries that are hostile towards us, by selling all of our meat products and our farmlands to China. Ladies and gentlemen, we must maintain strength. We must combat the liberal left, the hyper-liberal left, and the so-called progressives, ladies and gentlemen. We need to ensure and enshrine our rights that are given to us by God in our Constitution. So, ladies and gentlemen, I only got one question. Are you ready?
Secure the party's presidential nomination. Harris reacting to the news, posting on X, quote, "I am honored to be the Democratic nominee for President of the United States. I will officially accept the nomination next week." Karl Rove is a former Deputy White House Chief of Staff and a Fox News contributor and joins us now. So let's talk about where the race is, because in some battleground states, the polls seem to have been narrowing. Let's put it up here. Arizona, Trump still leads, though one poll has got Harris up by 2. Same thing in Nevada. Wisconsin, Trump holds a very narrow lead. Michigan, Trump is ahead, but Harris is up 11 in one new poll, which I think might be an outlier. Trump continues to lead in Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. He's still got the advantage, Carl, but she's gaining momentum. There's no question.
Yeah, no doubt about it. If you look at, remember, better to look at an average of polls, and we just don't have a lot of battleground state polls since all these things began to shift. Take a look at the national number, though, and you get a sense of this. Remember, before the first debate with Biden and Trump, Trump was leading by close to 3 points or above 3 points, depending on when you looked at it. Trump today in the Real Clear Politics average is leading by 1.2%, 1.2 points. There's an outlier in there, the poll that gives him a 5-point lead. Without that outlier, he's leading by less than 1%, 0.8. In fact, if you look at it, there were 5 polls in the Real Clear Politics average that occurred before the 25th of July. Trump leads in all 5 of those. Of the 5 polls that have been held since the 26th of July, he leads in only 2. She leads in 3. So I fully expect that the momentum she has is going to carry her through, unless it's a disastrous vice presidential choice. this momentum is going to leave her in the lead at the end of the Democratic convention.
Well, remember back in 1968, the last time the president dropped out and then a successor was named, Nixon only won the election by 0.7 of a percentage point, though Nixon really took him in the Electoral College. And there are polls that show that Donald Trump is going to take the Electoral College by a substantial margin. Good piece by Kim Strassel, I think you probably saw it in the Wall Street Journal, about the fact that Joe Biden may not be campaigning for Kamala Harris, but he can help gild her path to election with left-wing presidential giveaways. She wrote, these White House gifts and promises are designed to smooth over cracks in the base and to tantalize activists and donors. That's exactly the left's plan from now until November. Ensure the general public never again claps eyes on the failing octogenarian, even as he works behind the scenes to ensure key voting groups feel the thrill of progressive power. I mean, there's a lot he can do between now and November.
Yeah, well, and look, take a look at what he has been openly saying for the last year and a half, that he's willing to spend our taxpayer dollars on it. And the White House says we've got a problem with young voters. They're not enthusiastic about Joe Biden, so we're going to give them hundreds of billions of dollars of debt relief from their student loans, and we're going to take money out of the pocketbooks of working Americans to pay for their for the college loans of some. Yeah. And they're open about it. We're doing this in order to get votes. You know, back to your point about the Electoral College and the popular vote, Kamala Harris needs to lead by 2 or 3 points in the popular vote in order to offset the Republican advantage in the Electoral College, which, again, is another reason why they're going to have these targeted expenditures of public monies to try and, you know, in essence, co-opt parts of the electorate. I don't think it'll ultimately work, but they're going to sure make it an expensive proposition and try.
And one of the things she's trying to do, Carl, is to run away from the record that she ran on in the 2020 presidential election. Let's remind voters of some of the things that she stood for. Listen here.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. And starting with what we can do on day one around public lands, right? We've got to critically re-examine ICE and its role and the way that it is being administered and the work it is doing. And we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
Assault weapons that are already in circulation. What do you do about those?
Well, there are approximately 5 million, to your point, Craig. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program.
For people out there who like their insurance, they don't get to keep it?
Well, listen, the idea is that everyone gets access to medical care, and you don't have to go through the process of going through an insurance company, having them give you approval, going through the paperwork, all of the delay. Let's eliminate all of that. Let's move on.
And I just got 20 seconds, Carl, up against a hard break, but the legacy media is ignoring all that. She can say whatever she wants now.
Yeah, well, look, the Trump campaign needs to take those in serial format, one at a time, or a group of them that are allied around the same issue, and go at them and let her explain to people, no, I don't believe that anymore. So go to Pennsylvania and hit the issue hard on energy, and let her be the person who says, well, I've changed my mind, and explain why. Because it's not enough to simply throw it all out there. You got to drive it home, because the people who are up for grabs in this election are low information, undecided voters or swing voters. They need to be consistently reminded of the issue, and we've got to keep it simple.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Kamala Harris wants a mandatory buyback program. That is the main issue in this video clip. She wants to take your guns. She does not want you, as an American, as a patriot of the United States of America, having a firearm. Sure, she'll say, well, you know, give them a pistol with 4 shots. But, boy, I want them rifles. And she's going to want to make it as stringent as she can. License everything out to the max, to where you have to have some type of license, like a federal stamp, $12,000 to basically own a firearm. She wants to impede the Second Amendment, to destroy the Second Amendment. Kamala Harris, who are you to tell me what kind of gun that I can own? Who are you to tell the American people mandatory buyback program? There's a lot going on in this video clip. Some stuff I even disagree with the Republicans, but this one is a hill that we have to stand on and proclaim our Declaration of Independence on, in a sense, when it comes to the Second Amendment, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this is an absolute disaster. Look what's happening in the UK. I mean, they're holding flashlights as Muslim extremists are approaching and running after them and running away. Some of these countries, The regular police don't even have firearms. They have to call the special ops, so to speak, to even bring a handgun to resolve an issue. This is absolute 100% madness. She disagrees with fracking. Hey, we need resources, critical resources, to run our country. Yes, fracking, if it's uncontrolled, can be a disaster for the ecosystem and for the water table. I agree with that. But we can do everything responsibly. Like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, we can do everything, but we cannot do everything at once because we're the United States of America. And I like my guns. And law abiding citizens, they don't go out and break the laws when it comes to guns. We know we can get in trouble. We know we can get arrested. Basically, law abiding citizens don't want to spend any time in prison and getting a gun charge slapped on them. Yes, I'm from Arizona. We have constitutional carry. You know what? You can put it right under your waistband and conceal it. No trouble. I got my CCW here in Arizona. I constitutionally carry. I sometimes outer carry. It just depends how I'm feeling that day, what kind of mood I'm in, and what I want to do. But if we basically give our guns away or forcibly taken away under Kamala Harris's mandatory buyback program, the criminals will never, ever give up their firearm. So as one is entering your home, try and rape your wife and kill your children, I guess you can just pull out your butter knife and hope all goes well. Even though I have 2 brown belts, ladies and gentlemen, I love my firearm. This is just ridiculous. It's asinine and it's horrendous. It's anti-American. We'll be looking like France when Kamala Harris gets done with the United States of America, ladies and gentlemen. But there's a good thing. There's states' rights to protect our Second Amendment. And Arizona always finds a way to protect them citizens against the federal government when they overreach and go extreme. But what do I want to do? I want to basically pan over to a video clip on a pro-Second Amendment advocate named Homer Simpson. I only got one thing to say to you, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready?
Family.
I couldn't agree more, Marjorie. You deserve peace of mind, and peace of mind is what you shall have. I'd like to buy your deadliest gun, please.
Aisle 6, next to the sympathy cards. Whoa, careful there, Annie Oakley.
I don't have to be careful. I got a gun.
Well, you'll probably want the accessory kit, holster,
Oh, yeah.
bandolier,
Baby.
silencer,
Mm-hmm.
loudener, speed cocker.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
And this is for shooting down police helicopters.
Oh, I don't need anything like that. Yet. Just give me my gun.
Sorry, the law requires a 5-day waiting period. We've got to run a background check.
5 days? But I'm mad now.
Yeah.
I'd kill you if I had my gun.
Yeah, well, you don't.
There's a big shot. He's so big because he's got a lot of guns. But if he didn't have any guns, I'd show him. Now, I believe you have some sort of firearm for me?
Well, let's see here. According to your background check, you've been in a mental institution,
Yeah.
frequent problems with alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
You beat up President Bush.
Former president. Potentially dangerous?
Relax, that just limits you to 3 handguns or less.
Woohoo! Close your eyes, Marge. I've got a surprise for you. Okay, open your eyes. Hey, it's a handgun! Isn't it great? This is the trigger, and this is the thing you point at whenever you want to die.
Homer, I don't want guns in my house. Don't you remember when Maggie shot Mr. Burns?
I thought Smithers did it.
That would have made a lot more sense. Hey, Dad, can I borrow the gun tomorrow? I want to scare that old security guard at the bank.
Only if you clean your room.
No! No one's using this gun. The TV said you're 58% more likely to shoot a family member than an intruder.
TV said that? But I have to have a gun. It's in the Constitution.
Dad, the Second Amendment is just a remnant from Revolutionary days. It has no meaning today.
You couldn't be more wrong, Lisa. If I didn't have this gun, the King of England could just walk in here anytime he wants and start shoving you around. You want that? Huh? Do you?
No.
All right, then.
Can you help me get my ball down from the roof, Dad?
Sure thing, honey. You want me to get the cat down?
No thanks.
Pooh!
Miss one, Dad.
See you in hell, dinner plate.
Does anyone know where all my dinner plates went?
You probably left him at work. On another topic, guess who was picked to host the next NRA get-together?
Homer, I told you this morning, no guns at the dinner table.
You said the breakfast table.
It's the same table.
Listen, if it'll make you feel any better, I'll put the safety on. Oops, guess it was already on. I'd better just put it down.
No offense, Mom, but that was pretty cool.
Homer, I think you'd agree that I've put up with a lot in this marriage. But this is the first time since we've been married that I've actually feared for our lives.
Oh, this gun cost me everything. My wife, my kids, everything but my precious, precious gun.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Wise words from the greatest philosopher, Homer Simpson. Now, Homer Simpson isn't the greatest advocate for gun policies. He's not the most responsible gun owner, but he has a few things right. It's constitutional. The United States did break away from England. They established their independence from dominance, and they maintain their gun rights. As Lisa Simpson is saying, the gun rights are absolutely 100% useless. I just thought that you would find that comical. But you know what? I'm going to say this, ladies and gentlemen. The Simpsons, as a lot of you know, have elements of truth when it comes to vaccines, when it comes to third world countries, when it comes to hostile countries trying to invade us. And I'm sure a lot of you know what I'm talking about because you're a fan of The Simpsons like I am. But I'm digressing, ladies and gentlemen. What I do want to talk about is the border issue. I mean, this is a disaster. I want you to imagine this. I want you to picture the situation as I'm speaking, painting a broad picture, ladies and gentlemen, with finite and very intricate details. Can you imagine open borders under Kamala Harris not being fixed? Criminals coming over here, Russia, Venezuela, and other countries emptying their prisons, which they are already, sending them individuals over here, hostile Chinese operatives, on and on and on. And then at the same time, simultaneously restricting our gun rights and taking our guns away from us. How are we supposed to protect ourselves? And at the same time, handing our money over, our taxpayer dollars, to illegal immigrants. I'm going to say it like this. At that point, how the hell are we even going to have a country anymore to defend? It'll be destroyed. It'll be absolutely insane. Meanwhile, abortions run rampant, they skyrocket, and we have to import our workers because we no longer have enough babies to replace the individuals that are dying off, meaning the birth rate. It's absolutely crazy. I think the birth rate should be like 2.5, and it's like 1.5. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in a crisis in this country. The liberal agenda thinks we're bad for planets, humans speaking. They want population control, that cows are bad. We should kill all cattle. This is just ridiculous. I mean, what are we going to do in this country if she gets elected? And I've told you before, I'm not an extreme fan of Republicans. They got a lot of things that I disagree with, actually. I'm not going to get into that right now because, like I said, me throwing my weight behind Donald Trump and getting on the Trump 2024 Express, it's time just to support Trump and talk about how to move the country forward. Now, what Donald needs to do is basically talk to the women voters, especially the independents, and explain to them, these independent women, of why he can do a better job than Kamala Harris, how he can protect the country better. I mean, we need protection for our families and our citizens here in the United States of America. But what I want to do is pan over to a video clip and show you exactly what Kamala Harris said about the border and let you judge for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. I only have one question. Are you ready?
Order, in that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration. But there are still a lot of problems that we are trying to fix.
Ali Bradley is with us now. That was the vice president on Meet the Press yesterday. Ali, is there anybody on the border who believes it's secure?
No, Leland, everybody I've talked to, I'm here at the sheriff's conference in Sierra Vista, and everybody has brought that clip up saying, how could she say something like that? There is no way our border is secure. They're actually, the Arizona sheriffs are issuing a vote of no confidence in the Customs and Border Protection Commissioner. Take a listen.
An amount of lack of resources, and Mayorkas has allowed this to happen, and so is Magnus. He's a CBP commissioner. He was sworn in to do the job, to give good advice to the administration, to be able to curb this problem. And that's why you're going to see Arizona sheriffs today have put out a vote of no confidence in Magnus now as well.
Yeah, they issued that vote of no confidence in Mayorkas and Kamala Harris as well. When I reached out to Customs and Border Protection, Leland, they told me to address my questions to the White House.
All right, Ali, thank you very much. We appreciate it. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Prime starts now.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. What we're going to do is we're going to share an article with you just to show you how invasive the immigration problem is. This is by Mark Kelly. He's an opinion contributor, and this is published 5:23 a.m. on January 25th, 2024. Biden admits U.S. border isn't secure, but president has done little to solve the migration problem. Reminding you, Kamala Harris is even worse, ladies and gentlemen. Taxpayers in cities and states, hundreds or thousands of miles away from the border, now bear the burden of the Biden's administration inept leadership. In 1992, movie A Few Good Men, a tense courtroom exchange between Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson produced one of the most famous lines in Hollywood history. Cruise's character, who is interrogating Nicholson's character, yells, "I want the truth." Nicholson shouts back, "You can't handle the truth." This scene transcends pop culture. More than 30 years later, Nicholson's quote applies to the border crisis our nation faces. According to a recent NBC News poll, nearly a quarter of Americans still oppose a large-scale border security package, despite the obvious need to do so. Yet, if they knew that nearly 8 million illegal border encounters occurred during President Joe Biden's first 3 years in office, and that an additional 1.7 million migrants, known as gotaways, have invaded U.S. Border Patrol, they would realize the crisis isn't merely partisan rhetoric. That is a travesty, ladies and gentlemen. That many individuals escaping customs or border security, who are they? Well, they're in a neighborhood near you. Let's continue to read, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? New York cut services for residents to pay for migrant housing. If they knew that California now provides taxpayer-funded health care to people who immigrated illegally, and that New York City has cut library and police funding to cover costs for migrant housing, they would realize how reckless this has become. These statistics are just some of the facts, shall we say the truth, about the results of our ongoing border crisis. But it's not just about statistics, it's increasingly about the real impact on communities where migrants are going once they enter the United States of America. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have to think about that. You're going to have a mass population migrating, a mass population coming here, trying to establish themselves, get to know the culture, the language, the socioeconomic viability of the United States of America. But a lot of individuals are resorting to crime. They can't even get an identity card, a lot of them. They can't become established as a citizen. If they do, they have to do it illegally. But remember, Kamala Harris wants to take your guns away from you, ladies and gentlemen. Shall we continue reading? The border is a mess. Does Biden have the guts to stand up to progressives and get a deal? It's about the daily effect that our broken immigration and asylum system are having on the entire country. The American taxpayers in cities and states, hundreds or thousands of miles away from the border, now bear the burden of the Biden administration's inept leadership on this issue. Those who condone the Biden's administration's position on border security are not looking at the entire picture. The lack of outrage over the status of the southern and northern borders show a clear misunderstanding of perhaps apathy toward the problem. Even President Joe Biden now admits the southern border is not secure. Decisions like those in New York and California, while appealing to progressives, ultimately jeopardize the American immigration and asylum systems of both today and tomorrow. These decisions impact all of us. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. There you have it. The crisis is an absolute disaster. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Where do we go from here? You vote for Republican policies. You vote for border issues. You vote to protect life. You vote for Christianity. Look, there is a strain on our economic system. Just do it legally. Look at Grogu over here. I better not dare call him an illegal alien. He'll use his Jedi powers and launch me right out the window. He even came across the border legally, ladies and gentlemen. I'll show you his papers on the next show. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the show today. We have time constraints. I just want to bless you and say God bless the United States of America until we meet again on the Patriot News Hour.